Welcome back to SnowRunner, guys, and today we are going to be having a look at Iceberg's Chevy K30. Now, this is currently a work-in-progress private mod. However, what's really exciting about this truck is that he's actually working on an unbranded console-friendly version for release sometime in the future. And I want you guys to let me know in the comments down below what some of your favorite features of this particular build are. Now, one of the things that I noticed right off the bat is the large fender cutouts, the large wheel well cutouts in the bed. Now, I'm not sure if that's something that he plans to change or not, but I actually really hope that he leaves it like that because it's actually got room for a lot of tire back there. The front doesn't quite have as much room for tire, but like the rear bed sides, man, they've got a lot of room for tire. Now, the interior also looks awesome. I mean, look at the dash, look at the steering wheel, look at the seats, the door panels, and it all looks weathered. It looks used and weathered, but it also looks like it's been well cared for over the years, and I think because of that, it really will fit into the visual style of SnowRunner really, really well. So let's go ahead and fire it up and get it into the garage. Roars to life, let's go! Now, it's not the loudest truck in the world, but it does have a nice tone, and it's definitely going to fit more into that classic slash vanilla vehicle gameplay style. So let's go into the customization. Now, remember, this is a work in progress, and more items could get added in the future ever since the recording date of this video. But let's go ahead and go through the engine options. We've got a 5.7, and we've also got a 6.0. We're going to go ahead and throw the 6.0 in it, and that's going to take us from an A- to a S+ power to weight rating, which is a pretty considerable bump. Then, gearbox-wise, we have general purpose 6-speed, fine-tuned off-road 5-speed, and then a non-fine-tune off-road 5-speed, which basically the fine-tune is going to allow for basically precise selection of your low range, as you guys already know. So let's go with the fine-tune 5-speed off-road. Now, in suspensions, you have hauling, stock, which is a little bit higher in the front, and then you have raised, which also has some flex. So let's go with the raised for now, and we may switch it up a little bit later on, but that all entirely depends on what we end up doing with it. So we've got that all installed. Now, as far as tires go, you've got a 38-inch BFG KO2 all-terrain, a 38-inch Nitto Trail Grappler MT, and mud tires wise, you have TSL boggers and super swampers, which the super swampers are what it comes on as standard right now. So I'm thinking for our testing, I almost kind of want to switch to the trail grappler just to see how they do. And we're going to go ahead and do that and see if there's also any other wheel options within the trail grapplers. And we're going to do the autonomous scout extended winch. And diff lock wise, we've already got the switchable one on, and we're going to throw, definitely the tall front-facing snorkel on it. That actually looks really, really good, and it fits the body of the truck nicely. Now, we've also got a toolbox and some trunk supplies, but the toolbox is definitely the one that I would go with because it's got 500 repair points and 27 units of fuel. So now, in terms of visuals, we're going to check out the, rear bumper, you have stock, and miscellaneous-wise, you have side steps and a trailer hitch, which I'm not going to throw the side steps on there because I'm not personally fond of how they look, but that's completely and totally a personal taste thing. Now, front bumper-wise, you got the stock front bumper, and then you have two different off-road bumper options, number 1 and number 2. I kind of prefer number 2 because it's definitely got a good mixture of the lights, the almost like a little bit of a stinger bumper with the winch and the tow hooks out front. Now, we've actually got a pretty good amount of wheel selection here within the Nitto Trail Grappler tires. So we've got these black XD series wheels. We've also got some bead locks, which are actually those look really, really good. Now, let's see. Oh, that's interesting. Some like concave wheels. And actually, okay, so this is kind of like just a generic wheel that you can get, like a generic concave style wheel that you can get in 3 different finishes, black, chrome, or gray. And I think I'm actually going to go with these deep dish bead locks. They look really good. Now, color selection-wise, I do like the default color. I think it's really good with the kind of like the light blue with the gray stripe, but let's see. Oh, it looks so good in red. And I know that there's going to be people out there that are going to be like, of course you picked red. It looks so good, though. Now, as we go through these colors, not all of them have the stripes. Some of them are a full solid color, and I do think that the full solid color looks really good on this truck as well. But, ooh, if you go a little bit further down the list, you also have a black stripe that goes down the side with the red, and I think that looks amazing as well. I'm actually going to go with that, the red with the black stripe. Now, there's currently no interior customization at the moment, but remember, it is a work in progress, and that could very well come in the future. So let's go ahead and leave the garage now and see how it does with the upgraded 6-liter engine. Let's fire it up. It still fires up really, really quickly, and I'm also really curious to know how much flex this off-road suspension actually has. So let's make our way over to our usual flex ramp. I can already tell you, by the way it leans in the corners, that it's going to have a considerable amount of flex. At least it feels like it is. All right, let's bring you up onto the flex ramp. It's not bad. It's definitely a realistic amount of flex, especially for a front leaf spring vehicle. So I definitely think, you know, if you wanted to get more flex out of it, at least in the real world, you could start, you know, removing different leaves from the leaf pack. But that's obviously not something you can do in SnowRunner. I mean, that would require changes in the coding. But as far as what this vehicle is right now, I definitely think that it's got a good amount of flex to get most jobs done. So let's actually make a right, and we'll head over to our standard testing route. But I am curious to know how it's going to do on the rocks. I'm really interested to see where he's actually set the rock grip for this thing. So let's make our way out across the river, throw it in high, and see how it does through this. Whoop. High range actually in this is not all that fast. It's actually probably what I would consider low plus for most other trucks, which means this thing's low range is going to be low. Now, granted, that's with the off-road transmission, which makes complete and total sense that the high range would not be very fast. It's more just another ratio that you could use to get up and over things in case you needed a little bump in momentum. So let's see. Oh yeah, makes it all the way up really easily. And now we're going to lock it into low plus with the lockers on, but you know what? I'm not going to leave it locked for very long right here, because if I leave it locked before I get to the rocks, it's going to overheat the axles and start causing damage to the truck, so I'd rather not do that just yet. All right, so here we are. Let's go ahead and do low plus right off the bat, because again, this thing has some really low gears with the off-road gearbox. Wow, it did not want to go up onto the left. Okay, so it is not really all that interested in crawling up these rocks. Hang on. We're going to just pull you right back off of the rocks real quick. That way, you could chill out. Okay, so we're going to get back into the K30 now, repair and refuel, and we're going to head down to the mud. And I'm really interested to see how it does in the mud, and I think for the mud purposes, we're going to actually switch out to a set of different tires. We're going to do, let's see, these the boggers? Yeah, let's see how the boggers do in the mud, because this is what you're going to be using if you're taking this truck somewhere that's got a lot of mud. And I feel like a lot of people are going to end up using these tires on this truck anyway, so it's going to be a really good test to see how they are in the mud. Whoop! I was trying to position it in such a way so that it wouldn't roll over, and we did cause some damage to the bumper, but I mean, I'm not really all too worried about the bumper, so we can repair that whenever we need to, like, for example, right now. All right, so let's go ahead and throw it in high first and see how it does in the shallow mud, which it seems to be doing all right. I mean, it hasn't started to sink yet, which is really, really good. Oh yeah, not bad at all. These tires actually are doing really well in the mud, and also you've got to remember that Iceberg usually builds his trucks on a much more vanilla-focused gameplay style, so for a truck that's designed around a vanilla gameplay style to be doing this well in high in the mud, that's pretty impressive. Whoa! I went to immediately, like, take it out of high, but, like, I had to just leave it because look how well it's doing. That's impressive. That's really impressive. Wow. Amazing job on that one. Still in high, and it's still making progress. It's slowing down a little bit, but it's still... Dude, that's amazing. That is so impressive that it's doing that well. I'm actually legitimately, like, really, really happy with this thing's performance. I'm going to go ahead and put it in low with the lockers on, and we'll put it slightly above, or slightly between, I should say, low plus and standard low. And it's not doing too bad. I feel like standard low is probably the best place to put it, but because this particular mud lane gets deeper and gets worse the further this way that you go. And I'm not sure why that is. It's always done that, and it's always been that way. So I've kind of just learned to expect that. But let's make our way over to the dips obstacle now, and I feel like it's going to do just fine over there. But my other thing about the way it's going to do over there is I feel like it'll be a good test to see what it's like with the wheelbase being this long. I mean, look how much distance there is between the axles. I mean, this is it looks anyway, like a four-door long bed truck. I mean, you've got so much wheelbase. All right, let's see. Low plus, we're just going to vary the throttle. Hasn't gotten hung up yet. The tires may be just big enough to prevent it from getting hung up. Almost through. Not bad, doing pretty well. I'm trying to angle a little bit, though. That way we don't risk as much damage as we would by going straight on. But really, at the end of the day, I mean, if you were just to blow through this straight on, you would cause some engine damage, but I don't think you would completely high center. Yeah, I think you've got just enough tire to where it's going to be okay. Yeah, you have just enough tire. You'll bang up your bumpers a lot, but as far as actually making your way through, you're fine. Like, even if you wanted to just tackle it straight on, you're good to go. So let's actually go ahead and repair it real quick now before we hit the bridge jump. Now, we're going to need to make a couple of changes, so let's get it repaired and refueled. And we're also going to go ahead and do, let's see, the default transmission, which should change us up to a 6-speed, which it does. And now we're going to change the time to something a little bit less gloomy than before. It was pretty gloomy before. Oh, God. All right, this is going to be a pretty good send, I feel, because we've got the big engine, the 6-liter. We've also gone back to the 6-speed gearbox. Now, let's see what high range is like with the 6-speed gearbox. It's not that bad. I mean, it's about probably, I would say, the equivalent of 4th, not 5th. It's still a very balanced gear. It's definitely a gear you could use to hop up obstacles, but not necessarily a gear that you would use to just charge right over obstacles. And once again, this truck is definitely designed for that more realistic gameplay style, so I can completely understand why that high range performs the way it does. So as we're approaching the bridge jump, the interior view is going to be really helpful up here because the camera likes to glitch out going down the bridge jump, but it's all good. And also, the interior is definitely plenty nice enough to make it a place where you could spend a lot of time, for sure. And for those of you that play a lot in interior view, I'm sure you're going to appreciate that. All right, almost there. There's 6th gear. Come on. And send it. Oh, boy. Ooh. Full-on nosedive. Let's lock the diffs and see if we can bring it back down. Come on. I just want to bring it back down. That's all I want to do. There it goes. There it goes. There it goes. I mean, hey, we only have a tiny bit of engine damage, and we've damaged out the suspension a little bit more than halfway. But for that to be all that did, that's pretty impressive. I'm actually, you know what? I'm giving this thing mad props for that because well, I shouldn't say all, but like most vanilla vehicles would not have taken that impact that well. There are a couple that I've taken off the bridge jump that have done really, really well and have ended up with almost no damage at all. But those are kind of few and far between type circumstances. But at the end of the day, this thing is awesome. I mean, the quality is absolutely on point, but not only is the quality really, really up there, the actual, like, just the drivability of the truck is really, really nice. And if you're looking for something to add to a modded campaign playthrough, this thing is definitely going to be great for that later on when the console-friendly version releases. Now, if you guys enjoyed this video, please do let me know your thoughts and opinions on it in the comments below. Hit that like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time.